Hi Fam, I'm your girl Yadeen and I'm super excited to be able to talk to you guys once again. It's been a while that we've shared an amazing story, a powerful story. We're always here for the testimonies, share our story for God's glory. And I had the opportunity to speak to a phenomenal lady, Lehandi Slabbert, and I can't wait for you guys just to hear her story, what she's done with the story, and how she came about healing, how the journey she took helped her on her healing journey. And I can't wait for you guys to hear about her story and her healing journey. We are here for the lessons, we are here for the testimonies. And stay tuned, stay tuned to hear more about Lehandi Slabbert's story. Welcome to Rarity by You, Lehandi, and I just want to thank you for taking the time out to speak to us tonight. And I'm so excited, as you can see, the smile.
Don't worry, I'm also excited.
Yes, you look beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I love it. So, just for our viewers, I would like to let you know that this is the first time me and Lehandi is seeing each other, but we did meet up beforehand. And I like voice notes, so I was just like, "Hey, Lehandi, how you doing?" Just to get that sense of calm and connect with each other. So, welcome, Lehandi. I'm super excited to have you here with us tonight.
Thank you so much for having me. And I mean, when you first reached out to me, I was like, I couldn't believe it because I follow your page and I've seen everything that you do with RaritybyU, and it was just so incredible how everything just came together and that we are here. Yeah, I'm very excited.
Thank you so much. And I did the same because this lady that also shared a story on RaritybyU, Sandra, Christians, actually told me about you and your amazing journey. And I told myself I have to reach out to you. So yes. And we like-minded people, like that RaritybyU is a storytelling platform where we basically own our stories. And that's why we have you here tonight, because you did it in a different way. And I'm super excited for you to share that journey with us. So are you ready to speak?
Yeah, I'm ready.
So in short, Lehandi, would you say Lehandi Slabbert is?
I would say I am I'm very outgoing person, but also like I'm an introvert, but also I like to be around people. I draw my energy from people, and so I can be quiet. I like my alone time. But I love hearing people's stories. I love telling stories. People, if they meet me, I might be quiet and reserved, but because I'm more of an observer, and then I take in, the information that I'm seeking. And then when it's time for me, when I feel comfortable and relaxed, then I will start talking. And that's why I think we are so similar in that way, because I love what you are doing with your platform, because I love to hear people's stories, because it stirs something in me. It's like, you never know what you're going to, what nuggets you're going to find. And so I'm really I'm an observer. I love people. I love my family. And I can be very reserved sometimes, but that's just because I'm an introvert. I like to protect my energy. And when introverts go out and we come back home, we need to sleep for a week or to just recover.
Exactly. Yeah. I can totally relate.
Yeah, so I'm a hard worker. I love, what I do. I love, like I said, I love people. I love friendships. I love new relationships. I love to hear people, tell their stories and how I can relate and helping others, and sharing knowledge, which is just so incredible. So yeah, that's sort of like me, in a nutshell.
Yes.
Yeah.
And thank you so much for sharing that. It feels like I know you.
Yeah, it's like, it's very, I think I wouldn't want to use the word weird, but it's almost like we've I mean, you're sitting on the other side. I want to say the other side of the world, but it's so unique how we've never really met face to face. You know,
Mm,
we've spoken via voice note and email, and it really
yeah.
feels like, you know, I can just chill and relax, and it's just a chat between
Yes.
long lost friends. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it's funny what you said about loving to hear people's stories. And I mean, we basically grew up with storytelling. Everything around us is about stories. Our grandparents sharing stories, and we
Yeah.
actually basically ons hang aan hulle lip en is so lekker.
Yeah.
So
Mm.
it's nice to take it, and you can take it a step further and not only share, you know, the good side of the stories, and
Yeah.
actually
Yeah.
getting into not be ashamed to share, you know, I used to say the ugly parts of it as well, but
Yeah.
then taking
That's,
the testimonies out of it. And that's the beautiful part about
yeah.
storytelling.
Yes. And it's fun and
Yeah.
exciting. You never really know. I think I had a conversation with someone this week, and I said, you know, you never really know if you're sitting next to someone or if you're standing in line and someone is behind you, someone is in front of you. You don't know what that person may be going through, even a
Yeah.
family member or friend. Uh, you never really know, you know.
Mm.
And so you are willing to almost like be vulnerable yourself and let people see that side of you, and people are more than willing to
Yeah.
also open up a bit because then they can
Mm.
relate, yeah, to you. So it's, everyone has a story to tell.
Everyone has a story. They even get chills
Yeah.
when you're saying that. So
Yeah.
the most important question on Rarity by You is obviously, what is your story? So if you
Mhm.
can give us a brief idea of your story, you know, that instant moment that changed your life, or, you know, several happenings or situations that changed your life. If you can just
Mhm.
take us through that, what it looked like for Lehandi Slabbert.
Yeah. So before I became Lehandi Slabbert, 6 years ago, I was Lehandi Kanka, come from a very a small town, 60 and so grew up there. I was born there, and you know, I had a very normal upbringing, I would say. I was an Oma kid, so I spent most of my time with my Oma,
Lekker
and
stories.
yeah, she like an old lady at 4 years old, and just enjoying the stories that she would tell, and you know, just living life and not having like a care in the world because I mean, I was 4 years old, and then you
Mm.
know, it changed when I turned 6 and I lost my Oma, and that to me is sort of like, and I write about it in my book. It was like my first heartbreak because I didn't think that, you know, I thought my Oma would live forever because, you
Yeah,
know, I think that
yeah,
um,
of course.
have that idea. And so for a while, I was sort of like struggling with death and not being able to see her because she was no longer there.
Mm.
And then, you know, fast forward, growing up and you know, going on with life. And then I was about, I think, 16, and then my parents announced that they're getting a divorce. I was in grade 11, so
Mm.
it was just before, you know, the final exams in grade 11, and I was quite like, you know, a hard worker when it comes to my
Yeah.
schoolwork, and very perfectionist, you know. I needed to, you know, do well in my subjects. And, you know, when my father broke the news with all of us there, was the first thing that popped up in my head is like, you know, why did you have to now go and tell me this now? Like, why did you break the news now?
Mm.
Um, you know, at school, I have exams, and I felt a lot of feelings towards him in terms of like, you know, it's very selfish of you. And then as I was looking around, because my brother was there and my sister, and I
Mm.
was just like looking at him, there was a few words, like literally a sentence, my whole life changed. You know, when
Mm.
someone you look up to, someone who was your idol, because I would be, wherever my
Yeah.
dad was, I would be right there. Like I was
Yes.
his shadow.
Yeah.
So, but to know that person that you have so much love for and who can do no wrong in your eyes tell you that he no longer loves your mother and o- over 20 years of being
Mm.
together. And it changes things.
It
It
does.
changes your perspective of what love looks like. And it really, for me, it was like I didn't know what love looked like anymore. It got really like, distorted. Like, um, because now, okay, so if, and I didn't want to, I told my mother, like, I'm never getting married, because if you guys can't make it work after 20
Yeah.
years, what chance do I even have of, you know, of
Yes.
getting there? And then really after that, I just went into this dark spin of like, I started drinking more and
Yeah.
I went out, stayed out late, way past curfew. Sometimes got home like, the next morning.
Mm.
Didn't really have a care in the world about myself.
Yeah.
Um, that self-esteem, but I never really had a good self-esteem, and that sort of just took a dip. And when I drank, it
Yeah.
gave me the confidence
Yes.
that,
Yes.
I was like, so, and I felt like if I had to, not drink, I wouldn't be like, no
Mm.
one would like, no one would even look at me because I would be the shy girl in the corner. But once I had a drink, I was the life of the party.
Yes.
And
Yes.
sometimes I would wonder, like, how the heck did I even get home some nights? Like,
Mm.
because there would be moments where I couldn't even remember. Like, I would get home and the next morning I couldn't remember a thing. I had
Yeah.
these blackouts and, it went on and on. And I even, when my dad moved out, when Lena had to go and visit him, I would manipulate my dad and make him feel guilty because because he now owes us something. That was like my mindset. Like, you can't say no to me for
Mm.
anything that I want. If I want to go out, stay out late. If I want to go to a party, you have to say yes because
Yes.
you owe this to me. And
Yeah.
I had that in my for a long time. There were stories, in small town, there were stories going around, and
Mm.
I didn't have the best of names at the end of the day.
Yes.
I got
Yes.
into relationships that I was like, when I think back, I was like, why and what? But
Yes.
it was,
When you look
I
back,
was,
you like,
I was, sometimes it wasn't even the relationship. It was just like this one night with
yeah,
this
please.
guy,
Yeah. Mm.
and and then all of a sudden I felt like I was in love with this person. And I'm like, and
You
because I was looking for something that I
like a
couldn't
trauma
find.
bond of, yeah, like trauma bonding kind of thing,
Yeah.
ne?
And
Yes.
when latched onto that attention,
Mm.
even if it's just for that brief moment, I crave the attention, and especially of men. And
Yeah.
I didn't see where it came from. And I was really, really, really reckless in that time of my life.
Mm.
Um, mm, you know, so that was like probably the biggest trauma that I had experienced in that time. And also not being employed. I studied so back home, and it was just I couldn't find a job, so I didn't have any money of my own. I had to rely on
Mm.
my mom. And I mean, she was trying to hold everything together here at home because now she's a single mother,
Yes.
and my sister is off in the army. I'm alone with my brother who's still in school. And yeah, I didn't, between my mother and I, we didn't have the best relationship.
Mm.
And we didn't communicate well. So that always ended up in a screaming match between the two of us and
Yeah.
never understanding. And I told her a couple of months ago after my book launched, I told her, like, I saw you as my worst enemy because you were the person who didn't want me to go and do this, that, and the other.
Mm.
And she said, but you know what? All the nights that you were out and I didn't know where you were, you didn't pick up your phone. The only thing I could thank God for it. I prayed because it was the praise of my mother that carried me
Yeah.
through those nights where I was like, and I was just like very quickly because when I look back after starting to write the book, I
Yeah.
was like, how in the world did I get home? And I was like, I can only thank God. And then my mother's like, I was praying for you guys, everything on that, wherever you were.
Yes.
And I think that is the most amazing thing, like just the praise of your parents. You don't
Mm.
can understand out of the difficult situations
Yeah.
it has got out of. And yeah,
Yes.
so
Yeah.
that is probably the biggest thing for me. There's
Yeah.
obviously a lot more that happened after that. I had, a brick had to fall on my head quite a few times to realize, okay, I need to
Yes. Yeah.
time to
No.
turn. Yeah,
There's so many things in this short story. Like you say, there's a lot more that I can
yeah,
relate to. Everything that you mentioned, like, "Oh, that was me." And I sort of went back and I'm like, it was
yeah,
Ra. It's like reckless living. You just go on and on and on. And it's nice in the moment, but you
yeah,
almost sort of don't want to be quiet, come to a standstill, face reality, be the sober version of yourself, because reality will follow you. Your mother was your worst, the person that you hated, basically.
yeah.
And looking back today, or the time when you realize, like, my mom, she was the one person that took so many things for us, and that is powerful. So thank you for sharing that. I want to dive into something very exciting, and that I'm excited about it, and I ordered my book, so I can't wait.
I
You
can't
wrote
wait
this
to post
book.
it. I can't wait.
Yes, I can't wait. I went through the reviews, and a lot of people, the way you explained to me, I have chills the whole time while I'm sitting and talking to you. But a lot of people explained, or the reviews was the way you explained it in a raw. It's raw. It's the way it happened. Because
Yeah,
many a times we try to make our story sounds perfect, and not, because you don't want to go to the ugly parts, man. In your mind, you would think that, what would people think of me? But you went there. So I'm excited to
yeah,
read that. I can't wait.
yes,
What inspired you to write this book, Gracefully Broken?
yeah.
Beautiful.
So, maybe, yeah, let's start with the title of the book. I think that is probably, and it's so weird because I'm starting with the title of the book, but when I was writing, I had no clue what my book was going to
Yeah.
be called.
Yes.
So that's been like a couple of, like, I think probably a month before the launch in December last year. But yeah, Gracefully Broken. Really, I was at a friend's house.
Mm.
And I believe in, the Holy Spirit dropping hints and He like guiding me. So we were at a friend's house and the song was playing, and I think you're familiar with Gracefully Broken by Chaka Cobb.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
so the song was playing, and I've never heard this song before. I was in the bathroom and it was playing on the TV,
Mm.
and I could hear it. I heard the song start, and I was listening, but I couldn't really hear the lyrics until it got to the chorus. And all I could hear was Gracefully Broken.
Wow.
And I called my husband. I'm like, come here, put this on the phone. I don't know what song this is, but just put your name. This might be
Shazam
my
it quick, yes.
book. And when I listen to the lyrics, and she says that God will break you, He will to position you,
Yeah.
but He doesn't hurt you when He breaks you. And that's just, to me, when I was looking at everything I was writing about, I was like, that is the title of my book, because I was writing about the broken pieces in my life. It was from my grandmother's death to the divorce, and then there's another traumatic experience that happened after after that, years
Yeah.
later, with the passing of a dear, dear loved one. And, I was just, I knew that I needed to write it because the broken pieces, God uses the broken pieces of us to make a
Mm.
new story. And my one friend wrote so beautifully in my book. She said, God loves a mosaic. So he takes the
You.
broken piece and that gave
Wow.
me so, I think that was just so beautifully put, you know.
Yeah.
And what really prompted me to write the book is I needed to tell my story. I have always wanted because I studied journalism. I've always loved writing.
Mm.
Um, I knew that I would one day I would want to write a book, but I
Yeah.
always thought it would be fictional because I love fictional stories.
Okay.
And they come very easy for me to write because
Yes.
once you write it yourself, oh, it's difficult.
Yeah.
It's difficult.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I felt this pull on my heart, April last year. Just, that I needed to write, I needed to write
Mm.
something down. And, I was journaling by that time. So I had a lot of thoughts that I'd written down. And then I just decided, just research, how this work. And it was so overwhelming that I just thought, because, writing a book and then having to go to a big publisher and having to stand there and sell your book
Yeah.
to this person and they say no to you. I was put off by that, but I just
Yeah.
knew I needed to do something.
Yes.
Um, like the Holy Spirit didn't want to leave me alone. And so Um, and then I looked a bit further, and then then I found my publisher, and she had just started um, coaching authors, and she's still very small publishing house.
Yeah.
She's grown now, and so she started to become my author coach. So she coached me through the process. She gave me deadlines, and we met up every week
Mm.
and progress, you know. That is how it just happened. She gave me tips, and it was really a wonderful experience to know that there's someone who is coaching you through it, um,
Yes.
to help you sort of like guide you. And there was a point in the book where I wrote about the loss of my brother,
Mm.
and I came to that point as I was writing, and I just stopped because I couldn't, stop crying. And it was a very painful experience for me to go back to revisit what happened, and
I
your
get
brain
you.
has a way of
Yes.
protecting you from certain things. And so once you sit back and you start thinking about it, it does really bring up all those emotions that,
Yeah. It's like you're reliving it. It's
yes,
definitely the
exactly.
best. Yes.
And so I told my publisher, look, I am in this space now. I don't think I can write any further. And she just said, just stop. You don't have to push yourself because then nothing's going to come out. It's not going to be authentic. So stop
Yeah.
and, take a break. You just start again the next week. And
Yes.
that's exactly what I did. And I think with assistance and her coaching and understanding,
Mm.
that it wasn't just about a deadline, but it was about me putting like my raw everything on pages for people to read.
Yeah.
Um, just that understanding. So yeah, I think the storytelling part, it needed to happen, and from the reviews I've gotten, um, I don't have any regrets. I could
Yeah.
have put more in there. Some things, you want to keep to
Yes.
yourself. You don't
Yeah.
want to hang it out there. And yeah, once you get your copy, you'll understand why there were certain things that I wasn't going to put in there, but I was prompted to put it in the book.
Yeah.
And it's amazing to hear how many people actually could relate to a specific topic that is
Yeah.
that is that is just,
And
yeah, not a lot
yeah.
of people felt. So
And
yeah.
you don't expect that. You don't
Yeah,
expect that. And then a lot of
exactly.
people like, yo, but this is me too. And different parts of your story. Like, I mean, there's not just one element, there's different elements.
Yeah.
We'll find the testimony in it. And that's the amazing part of listening. The part where you shared about the broken
Yeah.
glasses. I thought
Yeah.
of a painting I did was December. And so we had like this rare retreat part of Rarity by You with two other rare ambassadors. And we were
Yes.
painting, and I did the broken glass. And it's weird
Oh.
when you share these things, and I'm like,
Wow.
well, because I feel it's so relatable. And when you
Yes.
take all these pieces, it will never be the same again. But
Yeah.
it's this amazing piece that
Yes.
that
And
you
it can
get.
still be beautiful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I love it. But I can't wait to get my copy. I want to read all of it. I feel like after reading the book, I want to dive into that again. You're like, huh?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, but we'll get to it. I feel like in everyone's life there are these constant moments that can make or break us. And I always say that, or it's the case that we as humans are not immune to heartbreak, pain, trauma, and the power for me lies in the healthy healing. I
Yeah.
think, the term that people normally use, that we need to heal so that our children may not have a broken version of ourselves, of us, or
Yeah.
spouse or partner, whatever. But I
Yeah.
really believe that we need to heal rather than to avoid. If this is coming, I should. So it's in the healthy healing, ne?
Yes.
So
Yes.
if something happens, you basically teach yourself how to heal healthy. If it's going to a therapist, or and so if I take my personal story, there was no way that healthy healing even crossed my mind back then, because I was, you don't have the knowledge about it. You don't know what
Yes.
to do. You're ashamed. It's all these things that's connected to your story, or you connected yourself. This
Yes.
beliefs around, if you don't know what healthy healing is, so you just jump
Yes.
into living life.
Yes.
So yeah, so it's really about through healing and in feeling and sitting in it and being vulnerable and resilient, all these kind of things. And you learn that, and that's what we
Yeah.
carry over, healthy healing. So
Mm.
I want to know, can you walk us through the journey, your healing journey,
Yeah.
basically, and what self-discovery look like for you?
Yeah. Yeah. Um, so it's so true what you said, and I can relate about the healthy healing part. In the moment when you were living life, we didn't know. I didn't know that I could get out and
Yeah.
go for counseling, or it was never really talked about.
Yes.
And I've said this before, like in the colored community, therapy is not even something that is a topic. It's either you go and talk to your pastor, or you
Yes.
talk to a friend, or
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
like and so for me, writing became how I, that thing that I used to heal, because I really didn't have a relationship with, my siblings, or like I said, with my mom, where I could really go and sit and talk to about how I was feeling, and that I needed help, really. And so I wrote a lot, and that's how I communicated. If someone hurt me, or, if I felt some type of way, I would write a letter and I would give that to the person, especially to my mom, my dad.
Yeah.
I would just journal so that I, put down my thoughts. I would write a fictional story that's based on my life, or, just something to really just get my thoughts down. Because also in that time when I was feeling like, in that trauma, sitting in that trauma, what crossed my mind was that, okay, so I don't have to live anymore, because I'm feeling so depressed. I'm feeling all of these things all at once, and I don't have anyone to talk to. So, that also crossed my mind, what if I was not? And I actually found a letter that I wrote, like I was in grade 11, and I said, I'm feeling this way. Maybe it's better if I didn't exist anymore, you know? And so looking now at the world we live in now, the young kids are so, they're taking their own lives because they don't know how to cope. And,
Yes.
it's so important for me to be an advocate for mental health and giving the help. And, I wrote a book, and that also became my, that was my main healing journey,
Yeah.
because I didn't realize as I was writing the book many, many years later that I was still sitting with unforgiveness. I was still sitting with guilt. I was sitting with shame.
Yeah.
Um, and all of these feelings came up while I was writing, and I had to address it. I had to address some things with my dad. I had to address some things with my mom, and it
Mm.
wasn't easy. And you know, and then I realized that I've never gone for therapy. I've never, I thought about it, but I've never really
Yeah.
made an effort to do it, because, first of all, I had this perception of what therapy looks like, and I didn't want to go and scratch back in
Be
my past
malice. Yeah.
and be like, this happened, and then having to relive all of that and crying and all of these things. And then, as life really happened this year, I realized that, okay, I need to see someone, you know, and because I had a panic attack and I was just not coping with life
Yeah.
and work stress and life in general was just getting too much. And so I reached out, and I actually, went to go and see a therapist, and I went through an 8-week program,
Yeah.
sessions actually. And um, sure, I can't even begin to tell you what an amazing experience that was. And at first, I was very apprehensive. I had
Yeah.
this picture in my head of what a therapist or what therapy looked like. And the one thing my therapist told me is, I'm not gonna go and you're not gonna lay on a couch and I'm gonna sit and listen to and ask you questions about your past. You
Mm.
are to live life now. So I'm going to help you with your life now and moving forward. How to cope,
Powerful.
how to live your life better, and going to boss your life, as you said. And whatever comes up from the past, you deal with it.
Yes.
But you are struggling to live life now, and that is something that I always remember, because you know whatever happened in the past, it happened. It doesn't mean that it
Yes.
didn't shape
Yes.
me in certain ways,
Mm.
or made me make decisions, differently than I did before. But it's about what am I doing now, moving forward,
Mm.
to live, a healthier and a better life. And that
Yes.
that is how my healing started. And sometimes I still say, okay, I think I need to go back.
Yeah. I feel it's definitely part of self care. I love it. Like if you didn't know, I was in a mental institution. I took myself there in
Okay.
2015.
Yeah.
It was a big deal because the narrative, like it's for me, it's for crazy people,
Oh,
whatever that
my,
is. All the way there, I was crying, but it was the best thing I could do for myself, and I feel so. It feels like you can go every now and then because it feels like self care. You feel so good. You really do. So I totally get there. But sure, that was quite powerful that you shared. That self discovery, that self awareness, and feeling that you kind of healing journey. It's amazing. It's
yeah,
freeing, and
yeah, it's yeah.
yeah, and I guess that's the same feeling you had when writing the book. Like everything it's here now, because for so long we carried our past, what happened to us. Yeah, you stick it al weg, and you're like, I don't want to go there. So
Yes.
there would be triggers every now and then, touch and go
Mm,
kind of thing.
yeah.
So you quickly cover it up, and you're like, no, 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 we can't be going there.
Yeah.
But so there's triggers, it follows you, and
Yeah.
I always say that. Say for instance, where I'm now, I'm healed. I'm still healing. I feel it's it's a continuous journey, a forever work in
Yes.
progress. But the trigger still comes. It's just how I experience them now, how I react to it. And And that's the difference when you start to heal. How?
Yes.
Yeah, do you
Yeah, that's
agree?
so powerful. Yes, that's so powerful. Like, yeah. It's amazing what you just said in terms of it still comes.
Mm-hmm.
It never truly leaves you, but it's how you experience it now because you know now how to handle it better in
Yeah.
a healthier way. You know
Yes.
now. I know now not to run to a bottle of wine or to whatever, bring
Yes.
myself into a super, just to forget about or drown out,
Yeah.
whatever the trigger may be. It's now, I now can run and put on the kettle and make myself a cup of tea and
Copy.
talk to a
And
friend
yes, yes.
or talk to my husband or journal, or talk
Yeah.
with my therapist, like, hey, I'm feeling this
Yes.
way. Um,
Yes. It looks
but it's so
different. Hmm.
it's just, yeah, sometimes I think, why didn't I do that years ago?
Yeah. You know what? I actually wrote about on my notes. I'm forever on my notes, just writing the thoughts down. And I wrote, would this have changed my story? Was it something that needed to happen so that we can
Yeah.
sit here tonight and,
Yes.
empower? So we never
Yeah.
know, eh? But you also
Yeah.
ask the same question, like, but did I really have to go through that? Like, God, really?
Did I know really? Yeah.
Yes. So it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, but we can only give all the glory to God. Like, and that's why I'm saying we're sharing our story for His glory. It's powerful, and we are able to not only free ourselves, but be a light for someone else in their dark place. That one thing that they needed to hear, and it saved a life tonight, or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, I think that's
It's so
the most
powerful.
important thing. Yeah, that's the most important thing. I think that us not keeping a story to ourselves, but telling it so that a next person, even if it's just one person, can
Yes.
be saved.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Only
Yeah.
one.